Hello, I'm Sally Lindsay, a senior scientist at Hull and Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital, here to tell you today about our research on ableism in academia. People with disabilities are one of the world's largest minority groups, and yet are often overlooked. Although we have legislation that's designed to affirm the rights of people with disabilities, there has sadly been an increase in disability discrimination, also known as ableism, over the last decade. People with disabilities also continue to face social exclusion, unaccommodating environments, and a lack of opportunities. Faculty and researchers with disabilities are among the groups that experience the highest levels of harassment and ableism within post-secondary institutions. For example, within Canada, only about 6% of university faculty or researchers self-identify as having a disability, compared to around 20% of the working age Canadians who have a disability. And some 35% of university professors, instructors, teachers, or researchers with a disability have reported experiencing ableism or unfair treatment, and 47% reported that they encountered harassment. Our systematic review aimed to understand the experiences and impact of ableism among faculty and staff with disabilities within academia. So our systematic review involved searching 6 international databases over a 25-year period. Our results involved 33 studies that met our inclusion criteria and involved participants across 6 countries. Faculty and staff experiences of ableism in academia touched on the following 3 themes: so disability disclosure, workplace accommodations, and negative attitudes. So in regards to disability disclosure, a lot of the studies reported participants choosing not to disclose. And this was largely a result of fear of stigma, toxic work environments, and also concerns about job security. In regards to workplace accommodations, a lot of the participants and studies reported a lack of accommodations. So things like inaccessible buildings, campuses, teaching spaces, workspaces, and also difficulty traveling to conferences. There was also a lot of reports of difficulty requesting and receiving accommodations. So often an unclear and time-consuming process, often having to prove their disability and medical documents, and a lot of resistance from university administration. And the third main theme that came out in our review was around negative attitudes, and mostly around stigma and discrimination. So things such as microaggressions, marginalization, toxic work environment, bullying, harassment, social isolation, and exclusion. There was also a great deal of results that focused on the impact of ableism within academia, and particularly the negative impact it has on physical and mental well-being, and also the impact that it has on people's career development. So for example, some studies reported that it was often not an option to have a reduced workload or to work part-time. Others discussed the barriers to career development around the ableist performance evaluations and standards for promotion, and that institutional level barriers often created significant challenges for faculty and staff with disabilities. Although much fewer of the studies focused on coping, it is important to highlight some of the coping strategies that people use to address ableism. So things around working remotely, having allies, mentors, and role models, self-advocacy, and universal design. So our results highlight the barriers to receiving workplace accommodations within academia. And there's a need for a much more transparent and efficient process for obtaining workplace accommodations. There's also a critical need for more attention to the lived experiences of ableism among faculty and staff within academia, and the impact it has for their health and well-being and career pathways.